IVM.
Hi everybody, just wanted to ask everyone for a quick favor. We're running a brand survey right now and would really appreciate it if you could let us know what you think about the advertising on IVM. Go to ivmpodcast.com/survey and do let us know. As part of this, we'll be selecting 10 random participants and sending them some IVM swag, so do fill out those surveys.
कृपया ध्यान दीजिए, the language used on the podcast may not be fit for consumption. We warn you, tread carefully. But listen yaar, don't be so conservative.
Yes, Cyrus says it's become cock and bull on a Monday. It should have happened at 10 in the morning if you're part of this live feedback. Otherwise, this information is of no use to you. Actually, the whole show's information is of no use to you. That apart, Wi-Fi issues in the office. Last minute didn't come on, so we had to move the timing to the evening. That's what I'm saying. South Mumbai should just be devastated. Why wait for that, us to be completely drowned in water in 2030 or 50 or whenever it's supposed to be? I think we should just do it now and end it. It's just ridiculous. All the Wi-Fi problems are in South Mumbai. Everywhere else I go, Jabalpur is great, Rampur is great, and I go even further into a tribal area, Wi-Fi for 24 hours. It's just amazing.
Do you wonder why China does the things that it does? Or want to know how we could improve online privacy? Or perhaps you're thinking about how we can kickstart India's economy? If you'd like to search for the answers to such questions, check out All Things Policy, a daily public policy podcast that covers everything from employment figures to aircraft carriers. Tune in from Monday to Friday for new episodes and fresh takes.
Anyway, let's start on a happy note. This is a little story my daughter told me. He's been doing the rounds. Do you guys know why Trump... Hey, Silverie, please enter because I need you to answer the question. Silverie and Amit are with us, of course. Do you guys know why Trump is not allowed in the White House?
It's a riddle. I hope it's a riddle.
I'm guessing it's
Because it is for Biden. Get it?
Forbidden.
For Biden.
Oh.
It is for Biden. You morons. Punjabi spelling nahi aate. It is forbidden for Biden. Now to explain the joke. This is the lowest moment in a comic's life when you stand and tell people exactly what happened. It had to do with my parents all my life. Yeah. Anyway, but that's not the point of the day. The point of the day is that Monday morning, which is now evening, but it is morning in Canada where my son is. We always begin with the Oxford Dictionary, right?
Yes.
And the
Yes.
test of essential powers of the brain. Amit so far has displayed a sensational performance, and he's clearly the leader, with Silverie coming second and a few guests who have
I'm feeling lucky
appeared
today. Yeah. I'm feeling very lucky today.
You're like Clint Eastwood. You gotta ask
Yeah.
yourself, are you
Feeling
feeling
lucky
lucky
today,
today?
punk. Yeah.
Why did he have to talk so softly though? Throughout every film, as I lose my hearing, I've just watched a Dirty Harry clip on YouTube, and I'm like, what? Is that why he was given less lines in every film as well?
subtitles required.
It was
Really?
men speak less, kind of that kind of stereotype.
Yeah.
they
It
were
is
going
a,
for.
it's a mix between constipation and
Man of few words.
Are you feeling lucky today? What's that all about? Yeah.
You're feeling lucky, punk. Yeah.
Are you feeling lucky? And he talks like a UPite from only half the mouth. ऐसे बात करते हैं ना,
What
ऐसे बात
movie is
करते हैं.
that from? I bet you don't know the answer to that movie.
Which
that,
one?
That question.
Are you feeling lucky, punk?
Are you feeling lucky, punk?
So that's not Dirty Harry.
It's
That's
not
Good
Dirty
the
Harry.
Bad the Ugly? Is it Good the
No. Punk word can't be that.
It's a sequel to Dirty Harry, which is called.
The good, in any which way you win, any which way you lose. That lot.
I don't think that's what it's called. I
Any
think
which
it's
way you
called-
can.
It's like a 2-word thing. God, I can't remember.
Somebody in the chat will help us.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Of course, by Googling. Amit, you're Googling. You're doing Kunal Vijayekar on my show. You're
Well,
Googling
no,
on the
I'm
spot.
telling you, I'm Googling. I'm not.
Magnum Force? Magnum
Magnum
Force.
Force. That's it.
Magnum
That's Magnum Force.
Well
That's
done.
the Dirty Harry sequel.
Well done, Mr. First Googler.
Yes. Got it.
Yeah, just a disclaimer, this show is filled with cheats. All right, nobody has any real information. All our thoughts and philosophies come from some cheating. I have this paper here, which will expose everyone, including myself. Now, please bear in mind, I wrote this in the morning before the Wi-Fi disaster and before I started writing for my show. I like to do this first
And
because
since then, the meaning of these words has changed.
No! I had to handwrite it because the Oxford Dictionary that I have here is on a top shelf and it would take me 15 minutes to find. So
Okay.
I rewrote it down instead of taking a photo now on hindsight. So I don't know whether I've spelt it correctly because I can't read my own writing. So guys, you we might have a sensational tie here today where the host has screwed up completely, and so you are right in that case. Which I'll come to that story in a second. So the first word, the easier one is Numna, Numnah. I think it's Numna, but that second N could be something else also. I'm not 100% sure. Okay?
Okay.
Namna, it's a noun. What does it mean? It has an Urdu origin. Urdu, as the British say. Namna. Please be.
It's when a child doesn't want to do maths in school. Like, nah, I don't want this.
Creative enough,
Okay.
but you and I both know that you knew it was rubbish.
Of course.
And you and I both know that you knew it was not going to be the answer. So let's go to Amit.
Is it something to do with numbers though? Is it anything to do with numbers?
Everything has something to do with numbers in a large sense. Because you're part of the universe, so I can't give that answer.
I so again, I don't
It's
know
a
what
noun,
this
guys.
word. Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. I don't know what this word means either. But could you maybe have misspelled it? Could it have been Nummah?
I swear on my mother. I swear on all things holy and that I love. I 100% could have misspelled it. What do you think?
I don't even know what that means. I don't know what that means, but that feels more like a word that I've heard.
Say it
Numa.
again.
Nummah. That feels like something I've come across. Instead of MN.
No, that's
It's
I
Hindi
don't think
pujas
it's-
and all like Namaha.
No, not like that.
Namaha. Okay.
And then next you say it's short for Namrata. It's a name short for Namrata. I mean, there's no end to this nonsense. Okay, I'm going to stop it here so it doesn't go on. It's basically a pad placed under a saddle on a horse. Okay, and the
Okay.
Urdu word, unfortunately, I forgot to write down, which is close to it, but Namna. It
Namuna.
comes from there. So you can
Namuna.
use it next time you go horse riding. And both of you guys, I know 3 days a week are on a horse somewhere
Yeah,
between
absolutely.
Nariman Point and Powai. Okay, the tougher one. This one I've spelled correctly because I can read every letter clearly. I know. What a low standard. Singami. Syngamy. I'll repeat it. Syngamy. It's a noun. Singami.
Singami.
Again, it's a noun.
It's
But
something to do with marriage and stuff, I think. Polygamy, like
just like your numbers thing, you're in the universe.
Yeah, because
Okay.
Gami, right? Gami is of
Yeah.
joint.
Yeah.
That's what that means, right? Joint is
So
Gami means joint.
Very interesting. I thought Gami was just a bad spelling of game. Growing up, people who just weren't able to spell correctly. But anyway, go ahead. Singami. Maybe it's more pronounced Singami,
SYN, huh?
like Sing is king, because there's SYNG, which becomes Sing, and then there's an army, like Ami Patel. Singami. No, I'm just giving you. I'm giving you phonetic help, which is of no help really, except that maybe
Yeah.
if it yeah. Now you're thinking of Ami Patel and how many girls I knew during Navratri. That's not going to help. You can't get distracted, bro. These are intellectual questions. You can't think of chicks in the middle and all. You got to focus.
I do not know the answer to this at all. I have no. It does not feel.
Okay, but there is a numbers game. Really, there is a numbers game in this because Syngami is the fusion of two cells in reproduction. What were you going to say? What were you going to say?
No, I was going to say it is. Sorry, Singami, right? When people, I thought numbers, right? So like when someone is turned on by numbers and two people are like married because of their love for numbers or something. I don't know. That's what I was going to say.
Okay.
It's very, 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 very out there.
Education wasn't wasted on you.
Can you repeat what you said that was?
Yes. Singami, noun, is the fusion of two cells in reproduction. Two cells when they fuse during not two cells amongst whatever else is involved in reproduction. So don't think just two cells cause reproduction. So when two cells are the fusion of two cells in reproduction is called Singami. It's a purely scientific word, but you can see the synchronicity, symbiotic. All these words come from some sort of similar source and all means somewhat in the same direction of collectiveness in some way. So
I did think symbiotic. Yeah, I was thinking of symbiotic relationships somehow going to do that.
I thought you would go with that, guys, because anyway. But so next time you are having the coitus, young Silverie, remember, suddenly tell the girlfriend or whoever your lucky partner is, paid or not paid, that
hey, we have to use protection because otherwise Singami will happen.
So we finally know what our show is all about. It's to help young people with their sex lives. Yeah. Good stuff. Okay, so that's done. Now let me tell you before we start the topics of the day,
Yes.
my little problem, which is after going to the tech disaster. Mind you, guys, Alibag, the date I have with me, May 15th, we had a tufan whose name I forget, and which caused me to lose Wi-Fi because that guy couldn't fix it for 3 days. All right.
I
Well, the whole
remember.
world was
Yes.
able to recover in about 48 hours or less. Anyway, that was the first disaster. Then I came back and they cut my geo cable while doing work on the building. They're building
I
the
remember.
Taj Mahal. Okay. Then recently, which didn't affect you because we were able to salvage it in time. Again, they did something, and but by the evening it was okay. And today in the morning, I went to the office, which is in Fountain, and the workers working on the floor above, who had already caused a havoc and a hole in my my office, they cut the wire, and of course, they are not IT guys or tech specialists. And if you look at them, their expressions are it's like talking to your chanawala and telling him ki IT down, abhi main kya karu, because they were like. Acha. It's those kind of syllable answers. It was very painful for me. I entered at 8:23 in the morning, and my heart was racing. I was like, I felt like Die Hard. How can this happen to the same guy twice,
Again
thrice,
and again.
4 times?
Oh, good.
But wait, there's more to follow. And please, if you have some coffee, or apparently our sponsor or friend will appear. The name of the coffee being
Slay coffee.
Slay
Slay.
Coffee.
Yeah.
Slay Coffee. It'll come in handy right now because you'll
Yes.
need something just to keep your nerves tight. You won't believe at 5:45 as I was about to log on, the damn computer that Amit has given me, the laptop rather, here it is, stopped working.
What?
Yes, it just wouldn't come on. I mean, the power's on, but it wouldn't open into anything. Here it is. Your proof. I'm not lying. Please take your time.
Okay.
Digest. Here it
So
is.
what are you using? Maya's computer.
Maya was sweet enough to not be in a bad mood today because the women in my family is 50%, so the good 50%. And she said she saw I think she can tell when I'm really like an animal who's dying. So then she actually
Yes.
takes pity on me, as against when I'm just behaving like when I ask her to buy yogurt and I'm behaving like I can't do anything, and then she's not happy. But so she gave me hers. So yes, I am using hers. But how can this happen, Amit, to the same person? Because I just told her it doesn't happen to Silverie. He loses Wi-Fi for like 5 minutes and never happens to Amit. I can't even remember one occasion. So why is it happening to me in different locations across Maharashtra, Alibag, Fountain, Malabar Hill, everywhere I go? The song "Everywhere You Go, You Can Take the Weather with You." Everywhere I go, I don't take the Wi-Fi with me. This is the problem.
What is that? What was that amazingly awful book that was the biggest seller of all time?
Harry Potter?
Secret,
What?
the
Oh, okay.
Secret, or whatever that was, right?
That woman's Australian
Yeah.
author.
You put stuff into the universe and it comes back to you, right? So when you put your like absolute tech into the universe, your inability to kind of deal with any kind of tech out there.
You mean it's a karmic thing where
It's a karmic thing.
where I sort of auto suggest my lack of interest and ability, and then it comes back to bite me because I've
Exactly.
been promoting it so much.
Because
That's
exactly,
a very good
yeah.
for a rationalist
Yes,
and a non-emotive clinical scientist and social scientist like yourself. That's a fabulous thought.
I know,
You've
because
changed completely.
there's absolutely no rational explanation for this, right? Except because there's only one commonality in all of these circumstances, which is why the rational explanation is unlikely to be true. Or maybe it is true, who knows? But there's only one commonality.
Yeah, that's true. I have to accept that. Really. So it's me and Maharashtra. It's between these two options.
Let us mic raise slightly, please.
Yeah,
That's
man.
okay.
But that's you got to see Badal, my guy in the office. I mean, I came all happy on Monday morning. How are you doing? He said Wi-Fi is not working. I nearly like somebody died. When you tell people somebody died, I dropped my
man.
bag and was like, what? Now again? I'm just so unprepared for this. When will we go back to the office? By the way, the wife was asking.
So I'm hoping in the next week to 10 days. I was
Wow.
there on Saturday. It's getting close. It's not there yet, but it's getting close.
Gandhi Jayanti, then one more weekend where I have work, and then after that, let's start.
Let's
That's great.
start. Let's start.
As
We need to start. I'm tired of not
we
starting.
need a Singami to happen for
Sure.
2 units to fuse for us to reproduce once again
Okay.
in the studio.
In the
All right,
Okay.
that's done. So now I'm on her computer, which by the way, Amit, I asked her which one is better, which laptop is better. She said obviously mine. Huh? I don't want to get into that, but as a tech guy and all,
it's possible. I mean, like, I mean,
I'm a
like,
cheapo. So whatever laptop she's
so
got,
then
I've
it's
tried to find the
unlikely.
cheapest deal.
Then it's unlikely. Huh?
My daughter's an Apple lover. Hey, when are we going to the Apple versus the rest talk? We
What
have
do
to
you
have
want to
one
talk?
show.
And we've
Apple
We
versus
can do that
we've done it.
whenever.
yeah. Android.
We've done
We've
it many
not
times.
done it.
Yeah.
Not done it for a full show. We need to get two people who are crazy passionate. Like cricket lover, football lover, like that. My daughter,
Well, see, now the problem is that
my daughter and son were the opposite. He's Android, she's Apple.
well, see, that's the problem, right? That I mean, like most Apple people are not rational exactly, so it's very difficult to kind of find rational Apple people who can come and argue that.
They're like racist.
Yeah.
She's always badnaming the other
Yeah.
side.
Because
Yeah.
see, from a pure tech perspective, see, Apple is a toy. Now, a toy can work very well and will not fuck up, but it's not Apple. Whether you're talking about the iPad, whether you're talking about the Mac, whether you're talking about this, it doesn't have the same capability of Windows, Android, man.
You've misunderstood Apple technology. They have a little line which nobody can read in Korean for some reason, which says very clearly that this product will implode in 2 years time, and they give you the date, and that's exactly what happens.
Yeah.
After 2 years, it just starts to become either redundant because they've changed the tech and it doesn't work properly, or there are actually issues that happen. I've noticed that with all the Apple.
No, correct. They were caught, right? I think Apple and other companies like OnePlus also were caught doing this. They would send you updates.
I am the first to talk shit about Apple, but in this case, that was not exactly what.
So
was happening.
anyone who's using an Apple 3, 4, 1, 2, whatever the old ones were called?
So there are people who are using iPad 2s, but beyond that, no. But see, again, the thing is that you have to realize that why are you guys making me defend Apple? But honestly,
because you're a liberal and you must respect the truth above personal prejudice. Yeah.
Technology is advancing very, very quickly, and I mean, like technology which was 7 years old doesn't really work the way that you expect it to work today.
Hey, that's not fair because the Android users don't change their phones as much. I'm sure there's a lot of surveys on that.
Android users change their phones all the time.
No, they're doing it purely for vanity. They're doing it not for necessity. Necessity and vanity, two different things.
Try and work with a 5-year-old Android phone and see what a fucking disaster it is. Yeah, I'm sorry, but Android is dude. Your phone is a year old.
Yeah, it's a year old. It'll be a year old. Oh, it just crossed a year, August.
Yeah, exactly. So, but try and work with a 5-year-old Android phone. It's awful. I mean, like
I don't like 5-year-olds anyway of any kind.
Well, that's true.
Terrible age.
But what winds up happening is that it does not have enough RAM. It does not have enough memory. It does not have a strong enough processor. All of this stuff, anything that goes, basically all tech today is in a point where 2-3 years and you're done with it. It can't work anymore. At least not work well.
So what do you do with like the Taliban government then? Like where do they start? You can't give them the Apple 12, 13, whatever it's called. That's just come out 1,30,000 rupee top end, or 1,60,000 top end, whatever. It's ridiculous pricing.
Something like that, yeah.
So we should, since they're new to technology, they've just got helicopters and paddle boats. I think we should only start with I don't know. We should start with the bottom line.
Nokia Dabba phones.
Yeah.
Nokia Dabba phones from back in the day.
Oh, but I love those. You're talking about the big one.
But those work. Those work, huh? All those
That's true.
super
those work for
things,
years,
they
like 5, 10 years.
Yeah.
They prove that size actually matters. You just felt very important holding those phones. Now it's almost like you're embarrassed with your phone because it goes inside your fist and nobody can quite see it. But coming on to the Taliban, by the way, I don't know if you guys saw this story quietly. So Myanmar, at the UN, the envoy refused to speak, right?
Okay.
Because he knows he's going to get butchered or whatever, so he refused to speak. And what defense will they give? No, it was not a coup. We were all watchmen who just came to help with buildings, something like that. I mean, what we say, right? 80 countries down his throat minimum. Then the Taliban guy, they said they want to speak. They've sent their guy, the same that Suhail fellow who's stuck, I think, in Doha, who speaks English properly and all that, and he seems westernized to some extent. So that guy was willing to speak. But on the day when they were supposed to speak, they put 4 bodies up all across different.
4 bodies, yeah. I read this, yeah.
Back to
in Kabul, they put up 4 bodies in public, like high public square in public areas as a way of. They said those people were kidnappers who were trying to kidnap a father and a son.
But they were supposedly criminals. Let's give them that they were some sort of petty level criminals. But I'm just thinking how culturally different, because if you go to England and then they'll say this is Nelson's column, or take a look at the London Bridge, and you talk about those things to get tourists interested. And in Kabul, you say, come, you see, hey, here's kidnapper. See, legs are still swinging. Can take a selfie from there. And then they go to the UN. I'm just thinking, look at the picture of what's happening back there. And then you're at the UN saying, friends, we have a collective will to join and embrace the global presence together and make the world safer for all children, and not women and men. I think it's fine. If I was in the United Nations, it would be so funny. There's so many funny moments that are happening that you guys have not talked about. Bolsonaro was not allowed to eat with the rest because he couldn't enter the hall because he didn't have the vaccine.
He was unvaccinated, yes.
Because he said, I'm immune. I've had COVID once, so I don't need the vaccine. So he had to eat in the streets of New York, which I just love that story. It's my favorite story. He and his 3 bodyguards are standing there eating Lebanese, in Portuguese, telling each other, "What do you think, Pedro? Lovely, huh? Yeah, great stuff." Not allowed in the building.
Our IFS officer, Sneha Dubey, had a speech.
It was super.
So yeah, Sneha Dubey had a speech at the UN, which was highly talked about. Everyone has been.
What is the phrase she used?
Arsonists pretending to be firefighters.
Firefighters.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
But again,
Did
very well spoken. Of course, it was written, but yeah, good speech. Good speech.
Did you guys
Powerful.
see the video of the Aaj Tak lady who tried to barge in and talk to her? Okay,
No.
so
What?
all right, so you know how Indian news channels are, right? Indian news channels are just like basically go into the
set the
house and
pace.
start talking to anybody, right? So this lady from Aaj Tak who was there for this just basically gusod into the UN ka thing wherever she was part of the press coterie with Narendra Modi who had gone, right? And so she just gusod into the Sneha lady's office
Speech.
and no after the speech
Oh.
and then started asking her, and all she was like, "Thank you, I will not speak, thank you." It was really cool to see that clip. That clip was like hilarious, man. I'll try and see if I can find it somewhere.
Yeah, I was just thinking of all the funny things that could have happened with this whole Punjab mess going on. If Navjot Singh Sidhu suddenly calls up the Prime Minister and says, "Great speech," where he spoke about, especially with Quad, where he spoke about Chinese aggression, and basically that's why they formed Quad, to fight the Chinese. Can you imagine if he one time BJP member calls up Namo and says, "Bro, great speech, well done," and Namo turns around to Imran and says, "Mitra, tera phone aaya." Gives it to him.
I found the video. I'll just play it.
Found it, play it, yeah.
इस वक्त आज तक पर सीधा चलते हैं। एक सेकंड, हमारे साथ स्नेहा दुबे यहाँ पर मौजूद हैं। स्नेहा दुबे वही अधिकारी है, फर्स्ट सेक्रेटरी, जिसको पूरे देश ने इतने गर्व के साथ सुना है। मुझे पता है आप ऑन रिकॉर्ड बात नहीं करना चाहेंगी, पर अगर आप बताएं, क्योंकि पूरा हिंदुस्तान आज आपको सुनना चाह रहा है। सबने आपका यूएन में जो आपके लिए शायद रूटीन काम है, बट बहुत बड़ी चीज है। मतलब जो हमें बोलना था हमने ऑलरेडी बोल दिया है। प्लीज, आपने वहां पर अपनी बात कह दी है। जो ऑफिशियली जो स्टेटमेंट तैयार होता है वो बात आपने वहां पर कह दी है अपनी तरफ।
Why is she repeating what she said?
चलिए, तो आपने देखा स्नेहा दुबे यहाँ पर मौजूद थी और चित्रा वही
So it's amazing. This woman was made such a fool of. The person who was there from Aaj Tak. There was another video of her talking to a bunch of different people about how Modi has come to India, has come to the US, right? And she got this one black dude to start talking to her, and she didn't realize that this dude has a hardcore African accent. He's not American, he's African.
Well, he might be American, but he might be a naturalized citizen of and
Well, maybe, but he did that whole kind of this. So it was just hilarious.
Wow.
So she couldn't understand the person, or she couldn't what?
No, she basically just that guy also just kept like talking and just giving him
When
shit.
you hear a Swahili accent coming out of a Manhattan location, so she got like the wrong African American.
No, and she kind of acted as if like, oh, everybody is so happy to see Modi here in India or in America, that even American people on the street are really happy to see him.
So actually, what they do is they hold the question they ask from behind is like, what do you think of Tom Cruise? So the guy will say, he's great. And then they cut and they've actually asked the question, which is, Narendra Modi ke bare mein aapka kya soch vichar hai? And then he's great comes out. This is all the tricks of the trade, which I enjoy a lot also. But have you realized the Hindi used there, maujood hai? I mean, you know how stupid her conversation is. I mean, obviously she's there. Obviously, we know she's there. And at the end, you've come back and told us Maujud thi. I mean, that's the point. I mean, wow, what is this, like a Discover show? This is where she was. She is. And that's it out. Yeah. But Indian journalists also, they just start with a tirade. There's no, it sounded fake, insincere, the way she was overpraising her. They don't, there's no excuse me, nothing.
Yeah, exactly. She starts saying कि आप नहीं चाहेंगी माइक पे बोलना, पर फिर भी हमें बता दीजिए कि ये whatever. So she's saying कि
giving all this tarif business to set up the pace, but it's this tirade style and the tone of the talk. It's already at 80 miles per hour. She's already told you no, and you're into this 15-minute long question at this pace. Yeah, I can tell you that Sneha is obviously not going to subscribe to Aaj Tak now for the next 3 days at least. She'll have to go back to Republic, where the truth will be told, finally. Yeah. In the words of Joey, how's he doing? Silverie? We haven't heard from him since the fifth floor fiasco in Kabul, the hotel which isn't. the
Oh
flaws
yeah,
that aren't.
Arnav. Correct.
Yeah.
Yes. But there is news on Indian news media. A lot of outlets like the Print, the Wire, and a lot of other like reputed, trusted news sources are saying this, that our news media, TV news media, basically is at a peak levels of low. Like it is the lowest it has ever been. It is the profitability of traditional news media has declined over 90% over the past decade, while print and TV news revenues have also dropped only by 35 to 40%. So, in the sense, I'll give you a number. This number is crazy. Okay, in 2016, September 2016, 10.3 lakh people were employed in India's media and publishing industry. This number fell to 2.3 lakh only, from 10 lakh to 2.3 lakh in August 2021. So already like major
And what happened
layoffs.
between those two times? Sushant Singh Rajput
No,
controversy.
but one second. Are they counting digital? They can't be counting digital.
No. This is news media. They keep Indian news media. I think they're saying only TV news.
Electronic media. But I mean, how many people work on digital? Yeah, the 3.5 people set up a website.
But I mean, like more and more people are working in digital. Digital is creating some big newsrooms and stuff like
Those
that.
are the arms of the big guns who are already on TV, who have bigger whatever. But I find this
Okay.
ridiculous. I have to check this out. But 10.3 to 2.3 means more people should be affected in CNBC than I know. And they did lose a few, but it was not like 80%. Your maths is saying
it's not
80%.
exactly. That doesn't sound right.
From
to me. That
2016.
sounds-
That's what they're saying. From
Yeah,
2016.
but still, that just seems
And-
weird to me because I feel like
80% layoff, even over 4 years, is just a huge number.
Can I
huge
just
number.
say that
Yeah.
if there were this many people who were laid off in the media, it would be a lot easier for us to find people than it's been right now. We're not being able to find people that we're hiring. We're looking to hire. We've been looking to hire for the last 6 months, and we're not finding people. And I think that media employees are very much in demand right now at this point in time. I mean, the pure honest. I mean, like straight. I mean, like this is
Yeah.
if this many people, if 80% of the media was laid off in the last 5 years, it would not be this difficult to find people to hire.
The only instance in human history where 80% been laid off in one go have been North Korea on every week and the Taliban recently. You know, where immediately everybody just rushed out. I'm a woman. I'm a homosexual. I have liberal views. All these kind of people had to just run for safety. And whoever was left, had to dye their hair and beard because apparently, like I mentioned the last time, that's a very important thing. Please
It
kindly
is.
note when they come back in the news, why do 80-year-old whatever his name is have a fully black beard and black hair? And by the way, the beard is the first thing that goes white, young Silverie. To note,
Yeah.
that's when you know the
Okay.
beginning of the end is started. That's the first thing that goes
Okay.
white. Yeah.
Got
Well,
it.
there's another thing, but I don't know how much you spend time with other things and what your knowledge is of other things. And do you do things in the dark, in the light? Do you actually observe? Are you in a hurry? Because are you doing it in public? Some of you guys do it in public, so you've got to do it really quick. It's a cocktail party. The waiter's giving you a drink. Right hand is free. Boom. You're in like Flynn. You're out. It's all over. Okay, we digress. Let's move on
Quite a
to
bit.
let's move on to our first topic. We're already 6:29. We'll have to take a break in a
Yes,
a
sure.
minute.
The Sony Z merger we had been talk about last week is still going ahead. But so firstly, it's like I think it's a very big merger in the recent years. Sony and Z merging is pretty massive for our Indian broadcasting space. What is interesting is there are these hiccups that have come up in the thing in between the merger. That one of the biggest investors of Z is a company called Invesco. Okay, and one of their demands for this merger was to have 3 of the top officials be like removed from their positions of whatever the positions they held, which included Puneet Goenka, who is the MD and CEO of Z.
Who never returned Kunal's call. Let's go ahead with this.
That's why Invesco
That's
wanted
why.
him.
We've
out
got
there.
him now. We'll take him down.
Yeah. So now this merger deal happened, and the merger was announced with Puneet Goenka continuing his role. Would have been the role of the new joint entity of Sony Z, but Invesco is still insisting on that. No, we want him fired. Only then we'll go ahead with this. Otherwise, we're not interested in this or whatever. So like a major thing.
We had a Viacom merger with MTV years back. When this happens, 2 things happen. Heads have to roll. Somebody has to go. Okay. And somebody gets a really good break because they become joint heads over so many more things. So it works both ways. Some people get bad luck and whichever camp they were in, or there's obviously some politics involved, whichever part of the world you're in. I can't believe it's on pure corporate logic. So yeah, that's one. But I think Z was sinking in terms of their funding and stuff. Didn't they have a couple of really bad years? And
They did.
they were looking for investors desperately. So I think in this merger also, I think, isn't Sony the bigger partner?
So Sony is the bigger partner. in the combined entity, Invesco's shareholding becomes, I think, significantly lower as well than what it is right now. I think they own like 18-20%, something like that right now.
It's
of
halves,
the-
less than halves
Uh,
after that.
well, less than house, but I mean, like, it's still, I mean, like, this point in time, you would still be.
So then the bigger player will have to come up with with the answers for this one, whether to retain Puneet Goenka or not, and those kind of things.
Well, so they
It-
want
Puneet
the part of the deal is that Puneet would be the joint managing director, right? That's what I understood. That was part of the way that the deal was structured. But
Yeah.
the shareholders of Z have to give approval for the deal to go through. And these guys are being difficult in that sense because they say that there are other corporate governance issues with other Z group companies. Fundamentally, that's what I understood.
ah,
And
almost like a conflict of interest. And I'm a shareholder, so I have to give my okay as
so,
well.
but you should, I honestly, you should be.
Jackie Shroff's the shareholder.
So Jackie
That's
Shroff was
true.
like early shareholder, no? Very early shareholder, I
He didn't
think.
sell. He sold a lot, but he
Yeah.
made a lot of money on it. But Sony,
Yeah,
he
yeah.
kept some as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but I think if you're a shareholder of Sony, right? I mean, like, given that Z has had these corporate governance issues, you should like,
I like ghee better.
huh?
Can we call them ghee?
Ghee?
Can we call
Okay.
them ghee? They sound French now. Sony and ghee.
But
Ghee Sony. All sound French.
given the issues that have been there, wouldn't you prefer Sony management to be like Sony to be the majority shareholder? That is a
Hmm.
much more professionally managed company than Z. Z is a family business that's grown, right?
Yeah.
Which is kind of what that's a lot of businesses in India are those, right? They're family businesses which have grown much larger, and sometimes it's difficult to have the degree of professionalism you have in a company like Sony. And so, I mean, like, I don't know why they would have an issue with this. Honestly, it didn't make sense to me.
Hey, I'll throw my hat in the ring there just for corporate governance to go in the right direction. If Sony is listening and they want me to take over for a little while they figure out this Puneet Goenka, dilemma, I'm willing to run the ship.
I think you should.
You know.
I think that
I've known many of the Sony heads over the years, Kunal Das Gupta and what have you. I've known many of them. I've known Peter Mukherjee, who ran Star for some time. So I've run with the best. I've learned with the best, and I'm willing to guide the ship through. It's not a big deal. You basically just have to gamble. You don't even pay attention at meetings. Just say yes or no alternately. Something will work, something won't. I mean, just life is a gamble, isn't it? It's a lottery. Amit, I mean, the other guy can study all his life and still make the wrong choice, and the lucky guy can just say, "Oh, I'll take that one," and boom, he's reached the top floor.
yeah, no, that is true. I don't know what you can say
Then
about
that
that.
be
I
our
don't think-
philosophy for people listening. Don't work
Yeah.
hard, just take a chance.
Just-
And
yeah.
now we play ABBA. Take a chance, take a chance, take a chance, 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 take a chance, take a chance, take a chance on me. Take a chance on me. Take a chance on me. Shall we go to break?
Yes,
Silverie,
please.
Yes, let's.
I have a new skip in my step as I've started getting my coffee delivered to me, piping hot every morning. So hot that I couldn't say the word delivered properly. Slay Coffee makes some of the best tasting coffee you'll ever have, but you probably already know that. What you may not know though is some members of my family can be very particular about these COVID norms in hygiene and no contact delivery. Luckily, Slay Coffee have basically pioneered coffee packaging and delivery in all major cities in India. A handcrafted gourmet coffee experience in spill proof. Get this, spill proof. And that's very important. I don't want to say shabash to Slay Coffee, but there's been so many deliveries in this COVID pandemic where the spill proof doesn't happen and they give it to you and it's things are falling on your fingers. So spill proof is great. And temperature controlling packaging, perfect for these trying times. And they did all this before the pandemic. So they were visionaries, they thought ahead. Isn't that just brilliant? They were busy setting trends while others were playing catch up. Slay Coffee is slaying it, so order India's best rated coffee today on Swiggy and Zomato. And I take a sip. Oh, delicious. Slay Coffee. Dang, dang. You guys are I'm also a coffee drinker, but Amit, you're a serious coffee drinker?
No, I like it. I've had Slay. It's good.
And what about
Not just saying it because they're sponsors, but it's good.
I mean, what kind of idiot would actually say I don't like the coffee? I mean, that would be like,
But
really.
yeah, okay. But there are ways to weasel word this stuff, right?
Yeah. It's against my religion, would be one.
No, you can say something like, hey, I tried it. It wasn't bad. Right? Which
Or
is
something
not
like,
the same
"Nah,
as
it's
saying,
good."
I liked it. Yeah, no,
Or
very good.
Sudhir Joshi's immortal lines. After seeing any play performance, when you ask him, Sudhir, how was it? Huh? As expected. As expected.
There you go.
Always, I've given you this gift and you guys don't use it enough. But not for Slay Coffee. We love Slay Coffee. Slay Coffee.
I think maybe I've said this before, but Conan famously on his show, whenever he hasn't seen the movie or read the book of the guest, right? He'll always say, "People are saying that's a great book." Like people are saying that's a good coffee.
Yeah.
So that's always like a good way to go.
But do they catch him out on it?
They never do. No, he has never been called out on it.
Sometimes they also
Yeah.
switch guests last minute. That's an issue, right? So what happened is A didn't turn up, but B is in the building doing something else. Should we get him on? So you haven't read the book or you don't have time to do anything. So when that kind of happens, then you can't be
Then
blamed.
you have to wing it. Yeah.
Yeah. Like we used a guest on Monday last, or the one before that, last minute. You had no idea about Khane Mein Kya Hai and whatever shows he was doing, and we just put him on, and then
Kunal's,
we
yeah.
regretted it from start to finish. It's not a competitive program. I don't know what happens to these people. Yeah. All right.
All right.
Okay. Slay Coffee it is now. Topic number 2. So we got one.
Okay,
Let's see if we
sure.
get 2.
So I don't know if you guys have read the story, but the center has announced that it is going to be compensating the families
Yeah.
of people who lost their lives in the COVID
2 lakhs,
pandemic.
4 lakhs. What's the
Okay. So since you both don't know, I don't think, do either of you know this? Since you both don't know, I would like you
2
to
lakhs.
guess, either
1 lakh.
guess or say what is a good amount if you lost a family member because of the pandemic.
How can you put a price to human life?
I'm just saying, like,
I will not do this.
okay, at least how much you think the government has allocated?
Are you asking, do I think that the government is allocated, or do I think that the government should allocate?
No, he wants a figure from you. If you were the government, what would be a fair amount to give in a country of 1.3 billion where hundreds and hundreds have died or more? I have no idea what the statistic is. So the figure is 1 or 2 lakhs. Okay, from what I remember, I read that.
Okay.
But what do you think is a fair amount?
I don't know, man. So this is the thing.
A lower middle class family who've lost their breadwinner, let's say.
I don't know, because I'm going to sound like an asshole if I give the answer that I really think should be the answer.
Well, don't you remember Julius Caesar? You've got to bribe the populace. You've got to say the right thing. I say
sure.
1 crore per person.
Okay. By that definition, sure, 1 crore.
We can take it out of the defense budget. We can take it out of many other statue budgets.
How many people did we lose? We lost like 700,000, right, to COVID in India?
Yeah.
So 7 lakh crore rupiah.
Shall I tell you what the Maharashtra statue budget is alone? I mean, there are things that we are doing where we can take the money out. It's not like we can't.
Well, I not really. Though we're talking about 700,000 crore rupees.
If you're an accountant, you have to balance money. There's ways to balance money always. You decide priority wise. They've lost their lives. Okay. If you want to build one less warship, then you build one less warship. You know, I mean,
Sure.
I'm saying it's possible. Okay. What is the actual sum, Silverie?
It's 50,000 rupees per family.
It's come down to 50,000. It was 2 lakhs.
Wow, okay.
50,000 rupees the center
50,000.
announced to the Supreme Court. So what happened was there were 2 cases that the Supreme Court had heard in, I think, the last few months, in which the demand of the family members was 4 lakhs. And the center had then told the Supreme Court, okay, man, if we start giving out 4 lakhs per family member, we don't have the budgets right now for that. And so I think the Supreme Court then asked them, okay, come back with an amount and let us know what the amount is. And center has come back now and said it's 50,000 is what the amount is that they can afford. That is, yeah.
One second. How many? 7,000 odd. What is the figure you gave, Amit? Deaths?
I think it's 700,000 people who died.
7 lakh. Okay, 7 lakh into 50,000. Do the maths fast.
Is 35,000.
3.5 crores.
35,000 crores.
35,000 crores?
Yeah.
Oh, bro. If it's that much, then I can't blame the government, bro. That's a lot of money.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's not. Let's see. Let me just make sure. See, 7.
See, this is when you wish you were in Canada or New Zealand. You see, when your country is
No, 350,000 crores. Not even 700,000. 350,000 crores. 350,000 crores.
50,000 crores.
Yeah.
7 lakh into 50,000 rupees.
Yeah, it's 350,000 crores.
What kind of show is this? Not one fact is accurate. What's going on here? Drink your coffee.
7 lakhs.
Unbelievable.
7 lakhs multiplied by a lakh
Somebody got a calculator?
would be. Sorry, 7 lakhs multiplied by a lakh would be 70,000 crores. So this would be 35,000 crores.
35,000 crores. Correct. So 35,000 crores is too much. The New Zealand 4.8 million people, I mean, you can do something with how many people died there, which of course is much less. What do we do?
So I'm just looking at our numbers right now.
Can we just give up as a country? We could give up. We can resign.
4.5 lakhs
4.47
is the official number.
Yeah.
Now, but what about the unofficial numbers? What about the people who actually?
So people said at least 50% or 70% more people were saying.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's just it's a.
Okay, if I died of COVID and the government would give my family 50 grand, my family would really be angry because they'd be like, "Come on, man! I mean, we didn't like him anyway, but 50 grand." My wife will settle for nothing less than 60. I'm telling you right now. I know her. I know well. Yeah, bro, this is
Yeah,
such
I
a
don't
mean
know.
question. People actually
Of-
died, and I apologize to anyone listening
No,
because
no,
there are
correct, correct.
people
I didn't
who
mean it that way. I just said like, what do you think one should be getting in at all? Like 50K
no,
is
but
obviously less. If I
see,
would
the
say,
humanitarian point of view very clear for all three of us. You please give as
yeah,
much as you got in on. I mean, how can you death
of
and
course, that's what.
replace life? Blah blah blah. But the other point of the maths is maths, and there's like limits and levels. And what are you going to do?
Yeah,
35,000 crores is, I mean, yeah. So that means even to think of doubling that, which is nothing, it's a lakh.
yeah, yeah.
I mean, you're looking 70,000 crores, which means like, sorry, the defense budget and all that, what I tried to cut and the statues and all that are not going to be enough. We may have to give away 2 states. Write down the states you want to give away on a paper and post it to me. I don't want any controversies. We can't talk about it on air. We give 2 states away. We give one large one away. Silvery, what do you think?
Okay, no, I'm not gonna say anything.
Where the people are always nice. Don't give away the state. We want to
Yeah,
actually give
exactly.
away the politicians. Let's not confuse and make it a regional bias. Yeah. Yeah. Like all the North Indian bashing that happens in Maharashtra and Mumbai, especially over the last 40 years. Let me tell you, the fact of the matter is the North Indians run this city. They do all the work. You just sit around and look and there, and then that's true of all cities. It's not, Amit. The migrants come here and do all the work in the big cities.
Yeah.
You can't turn your back on the migrants. Without them,
I agree 100%. Did you see the app platform for their Goa elections?
no, what was it?
80% jobs should go to locals in all private companies. That's the
That's
app platform. Yeah, for
That's
Goa.
scary. That's also like a fascist sort of tone
It's
to it.
ridiculous because again, you're just talking about this, right? How all the North Indians come to Maharashtra and Bombay and work. Internal migration is really, really important, and I think that it's insane to me the economic illiteracy that we as a country
And
display.
how can you have this right?
Again, I'll just say this, right? That even over here on this kind of a thing, right? This is when you're talking about compensating people for deaths, there should the way it's really hard to say that you should compensate people for natural tragedies because or I mean like
Okay, that's the wrong word. But the word is terrible. It sounds like, that there's a mathematical score that you can apply to tragedy.
yeah,
So that I understand. But what do you want them to do? The
I
reality
don't
is the
know.
family has to live. So they're looking at it from the point of view of how do we go on? And after day
So
3 of crying and mourning, nobody comes to help the family.
yeah,
And then they need something, right?
they do need something, but I mean like it needs to be a welfare state. See, India is supposed to be a welfare state, right? And doing actual cash transfer like this for a particular incident is what needs to it's just I don't know, man. I
Amit,
just
you are talking about welfare state, and my mind boggles. My mom's best friend, they both won British Airways BOAC, then Biba, who lives in England and is now an English citizen, blah, blah, blah. Okay, she's looked after by the state at her age because her
okay.
sons aren't around, and there's no one really look after her. So they actually look after her literally. She tells my mom the stories all the time, how they come to the house, take her by hand for the COVID vaccine, bring her back, get her groceries, look out, check on her. They've given her a flat, everything. Because she's like a single, whatever woman in her
Oh,
late 70s. So that's that. Now imagine if my mom was alone in middle class India. I'm not talking about in
oh,
poverty or anything. In middle class India, my mom and we have one Parsi lady in this lane who's alone, for example. Who comes to help
Mm.
from the government? I'm
nobody.
thinking in the end, neighbors and all are helping and all that, but which is like a lottery of sorts. But what is there? If one of our elderly people was alone in Bombay and this pandemic was going on, who is going to come and help? Nobody did.
It's nobody did it was a thing. It was a big problem, right? I mean like for a lot of
So
religions.
much for influence and
Yeah.
money. So literally that didn't help.
Well, I mean, no, you can buy services, right? It wasn't that you couldn't buy services. You could
Not in
buy
the first
services.
pandemic, it was very tough. Whichever older people who were alone were really screwed, Amit. And the fact of the matter is, those are when you talk about the civilized society looking after the most weak. You should spring to that. I
Yeah.
suppose the one thing you have to hand Western democracy, and till today, I have another friend whose child is Mongoloid, and when they go on buses in America and stuff, there's proper the wheelchair entrance. Wherever they go, there's a place for the wheelchair. They are allowed people with so-called mental handicaps and all to go forward. And nobody questions that.
Yeah.
Here, you get pushed. You get pushed
Yeah.
in any queue. So
Mm.
I mean, this humanitarian values that we have, I don't think we're a bad people from any angle, but I just think we don't seem to understand what is the right sort of order in society and who should be.
Well, we were just talking about this. Life is cheap in India.
Yeah.
Right? We're just talking about this in terms of like how people do construction work and that kind of stuff, right?
Can you believe it? Yeah, we were offline at that point.
I think this was before we started the show,
Yeah.
right? But we're just
Yeah.
talking about exactly this. People are just like, life is cheap, man. I mean, like that's the way it is over here, and that sucks. But again, I mean, like when you just think about from a policy perspective, right, where money should be applied and paying compensation, because again, if there was an
So
unlimited
what is the
amount,
new option? Jobs?
I don't
Are you saying
know.
jobs?
Yeah, jobs, education,
The
school,
clubs take in the wife when the husband
yeah,
dies. There are some
food,
corporates who do that. The army does that,
yeah.
which
No,
is not the worst idea in the world. The wife takes on the husband's mantle, so at least financially they're in the same place, sort of.
or at least get them employment or something like that. I don't know. I honestly, I don't know what the answer is, because you're right. It seems very cold to say screw them, they get nothing. That seems way too cold, right? But at the
Yeah.
same time, from a policy perspective, there's no way to justify saying that everybody who died of COVID should get compensated. That just,
Yeah.
because again, then what makes COVID special over typhoid and malaria?
I don't know. Sorry.
These are diseases too. People die.
But this is because of pandemic. You couldn't work. You can't do anything else. And I think because of lockdowns and all also, right, have a role
Even
to
if
play.
somebody is dying of typhoid in this last year, same thing is true, no? Somebody is dying
Okay,
of
yeah, that's
dengue in
true.
this last year,
Yeah,
same
that's
thing
true.
is true.
Yeah, but they're not isolated. This feeling of isolation the pandemic caused to the people, and then the tunnel remains dark. There's no light at the end of it. That feeling is terrible. I don't even want to think about what it would be like for someone to go through that. So a family with young kids, and then suddenly the wife is left with all these burdens, and the husband's gone. So that would be. I wouldn't want to be the government on this one. This is a tough
Honestly,
one. How
I
do you
don't
balance
know.
books? You got to balance books. Life is about balancing. You can't just
Yeah.
do everything you want. This Mother Teresa attitude is great, but there's a reality. You got to have that reality
Yeah.
check. So no pun intended on check, but yeah. Coming back to the job transfer thing, I was just thinking there's some jobs you can't transfer. For example, if he was a professional sperm donor, I was thinking, what the hell? The job offer is there, but you can't give it in. Okay, you guys in.
So I'm just looking at the comments right now. Your math is wrong, I think. No, $10 billion is 70,000 crores. So yeah,
Can you just get on a calculator, Doshi and Sons? How long will this take, yaar?
that is true. Okay, all right.
Because this
let me see.
1-0 mistake is not fair. Companies have fallen because of a moron with a 1-0 mistake.
I'm just gonna, to make the math easier, I'm gonna make 500,000 people have died of COVID in India. If we were to pay them 100,000 each, right, which is a lakh rupees, which is
Okay, we can half it. We'll half it from there. Yeah.
so that is 5,000 crores.
Now, 5,000 crores is
5,000 crores is a number that we can manage.
when I'm talking about statues. I'm
Yeah.
looking in the same figure, okay, across the country. There are 3-4 big ones being planned. So, and if you put our heads together, there's enough stuff that can be pushed into the distance. And 5,000 crores can, but that's only brings them to 1 lakh, and 1 lakh is not the greatest sum. Yeah. So we wasted the people's time on this podcast.
We
with
did
wrong
pretty much
figures
because we don't know how to
and
do
real
math.
pain and angst. People crying, people listening to the podcast, going hugging each other, saying, "There's no hope for us. 70,000 crores, they're all finished." So we apologize to everybody. Like we said at the beginning, the disclaimer is we don't have our facts right. That'll be the new
Yeah.
name of it. Is called Cock and Bull. Isn't that the same thing? I mean, that is a
Pretty
fair enough
much.
disclaimer. Yeah.
Pretty much. But yeah, okay. All right, 5,000 crores is a lot more affordable. I guess that's a different.
But it still leaves you with just 1 lakh, Mr. Doshi. 1 lakh is okay. I hate that word compensation too, but what is 1 lakh? In the fullness of time, you're giving 1 lakh, which means for a month or 2 months or 3 months, in certain parts of India, 6 months, they'll survive. But more than that, that money will disappear.
But then again, then maybe we should have American style social security, right? Which means that spouses are getting income for
You said spouses and she passed. What karma?
Wow.
Ma tujhe salam. Oh my God, that was damn scary. I mean, how many times has this happened in your life? The only one time you mentioned spouses and she passed. Ooh.
Yeah, but in the US, spouses get social security.
Nothing happened. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, social security. Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. I'm going back to Biba auntie's situation there, and many people like that in where they look after the elderly from a pragmatic and practical point of view. I don't think we have anything close to that setup now. And I'm thinking if Indians look after their family members, but as you go to the next generation, I don't know if my kids will come back, for example. And I don't want them to have this, let's call it burden also, because it is that. I mean, Silverie will be forced to, but after Silverie, his kids may not come back. I'm just saying, in which case we don't have a plan B for older people. And it's not just that they need company and stuff. It's not. I mean, there's no plan.
Hey, so that is, but I think that's
Just a joint family. If there's no joint family, we're
but I
screwed.
think that's the plan. That's a problem throughout the world, right? I mean, like what what is the quality of life for elderly people? I think that's a global problem at this point in time, right? Especially
there's-
because we don't have joint families like that anymore.
As I'm saying, it's dying. It will die, and the pandemic exposed a lot of people who have left there not deliberately, but you're stuck in Canada. Your mother is here. She's a widow. Blah blah. There's the other kids in Australia. So what and they couldn't come in. They couldn't come in whether they wanted to or not. So then what happens? And they had to get rid of their minders and all that. And this essential worker nonsense took a little while to clear. Anyway, let's not bore people with our sad stories. Let's get on with the AMAs.
Yep.
Silverie.
Yes, let's.
It's so difficult to understand so many things in the tech world. You're telling me. Like artificial intelligence? What is that? It just sounds like science fiction, doesn't it? Fake laugh. Doing the Centerfruit MTV Comedy Basecamp show, got a lot of that fake laughs in. Luckily, though, Intel's digital readiness program empowers everyone with skill sets, mindsets, and tool sets to use in an AI-fueled world so you don't end up like me. The Intel AI for Youth program is an initiative that guides today's youth to an understanding of AI, how it is designed, and why it's important today. Intel's been working with the CBSE Ministry of Education and the Government of India to empower today's youth to build social impact solutions while demystifying what AI is. How do you take advantage of this? Purchase an Intel Core powered PC and you get free access to 8. And if you give me a second, you get free access to 80. Did I say 8? This is because of the power of AI. 8 becomes 80. 80 plus hours of immersive and hands-on training about AI. That's 80 plus hours, just to clarify. On completion of the program, along with the certificate, you get access to AI toolsets to try to put what you learn to good use. So it's both practical and logistical and real. So don't wait. Log on to Future Banao Wonderful at intel.com. Future Banao Wonderful by bringing home an Intel-powered PC today.
Follow me at Instagram and Twitter on Bored Brocha. I'm so bored, I need your help. I need your love. I need your touch. Okay, just follow me.
All right, let's get to the AMAs. The first one comes in from Mehul Vora. He says, Wada to all. What do you think of the disorder created by the Congress in Punjab, one of the few states where the Congress still has power?
Listen, let's be frank about this. This blame is on the Gandhi doorstep again. I don't know what's going on. You got Captain Amarinder Singh in. If you feel that he's not doing very well or whatever, it's an internal thing. You got to figure it out. But his arch enemy is Navjot Singh Sidhu. You put him on top of Amarinder Singh as Congress president in Punjab. I mean, that's just like a real slap on the face. And he's a proud man. So I'm on his side. I just don't understand. I don't understand the reason to do that because that's just very insulting. So much for democracy.
I agree with you. I do. I just kind of do, right? I feel like I don't know, man. I just feel like we're constantly let down by the only alternative party that there is in this country right now at this point in time. Because again, look
They were literally
at like the ops nonsense that we just spoke about, right? The Goa thing.
I mean, I is that really true? That sounds ridiculous. 80% for locals.
I was amazed. I saw that yesterday. I know there was a Twitter thing and there was an article to it. At least somebody is saying they want to do this,
There's no
right? And
political manifesto anywhere in India, in any state which is saying 80% for locals. They will say locals are guaranteed jobs and nobody's given a figure like 80%.
I was amazed when I saw this yesterday. Kejriwal assures 80% jobs for locals if AAP voted to power. This is on
Maybe it's 80% off a job.
maybe.
But coming back to Punjab, so I don't know what they were thinking. How do they think it would end well? This guy, he's like from a royal family, etc., etc. He's your top alpha male there. He can't stand Navjot Singh Sidhu. They've MCBC themselves and chased Punjabi for the last 3 weeks. How can you clip his wings? By doing that, you said, okay, we're siding with Navjot Singh Sidhu and we want to slowly move you. Yeah. But it's just like torture. It's painful. It's disrespectful. It's mean. And it's just bad leadership. So I think I have to take over the Congress. Once I finish with Z, the merger, I moved to Congress and I saw
that's
that.
That's your next project.
That's my thing. Yeah. And I'm going to take a calculator because I've learned a lesson here. If I'm running states and political parties and 5,000 crores, it was actually 70,000 crores becomes 5,000 crores. I mean, heads will roll.
Here's the thing about that calculator also. You need calculator which gives you Indian units and not American units. Because doing that crore and lakh and million and billion and all of that kind of stuff is really complicated.
But see, you say 100,000, we say lakh. 100,000 throws me even to today. If you ask me to calculate on the spot, I have to say lakh. If I say lakh in my head, it makes sense. Lakh, 2 lakhs, 10 lakhs, million, done. But if you say 100,000, it takes me a little while. It's like it's like Gujarati versus English for me. It takes me a little while.
I need rupees in lakhs and crores, and I need dollars in millions and billions. That's how the world makes sense to me, at least when I'm reading about this kind of stuff.
And I really like the way you put that sentence through in the end also. I need the same things. Chalo, next one, boys, 6:59.
Sure. Bigfoot Specials has a comment. He says, a classmate of mine died and we managed to crowdfund 30 lakhs. So
that's great.
That's
yeah, but, I mean, that's fantastic. What a lovely story. But the point of the matter is, there's for that one person where they've done this and they've crowdfunded well and all, and which is great. Can we really expect that? What did you say again? 5 lakhs conservatively? 5 lakh people ka crowdfunding ho payega? I don't think you can even imagine that.
No, it's not. And also, I mean, like, I'm sorry, but 30 lakhs goes to Bigfoot's classmate, right? I don't know who Bigfoot is, but I'm assuming he went to a decent college.
Yeah,
I'm assuming he comes from some degree of privilege. It's people like us, right? And I mean, like, I'm sorry, but for...
Not a knock at him. It's not a knock at him because they've done something for them.
They did something. 100% they did something. And they did something very admirable.
Yeah. Which down the economic chain also can be still done. It will not be in the same scale, but the levels are different, Amit Doshi. So I'm saying 30 lakhs for Mr. Sharma, but Mr. Verma, who's not earning that kind of money, maybe they can get 3 lakhs for him, through crowdfunding. But it won't happen. I'm just too negative about
crowdfunding is not I'm sorry, but crowdfunding is not government policy. Crowdfunding is people on their own doing some stuff, right? And we're talking about
how does this chain work? We'll all be willing to give $50 each, let's say $100 each for anybody, right? So X person who's died, we are giving the $100 each for crowdfunding because they just put an appeal in, literally. And you do that for operations.
Would you do it for 5 lakh people?
No, then your maths is going out of control. You have to give what people have. Charity has its limit. Everybody will give only what they can give. So I always give, like a beggar, I've always given 1 rupee and they give it back to me, immediately. But I say 1 rupee is what I'm willing to give. They want 20. And I had a fight with a beggar between the two pandemics. Not a fight, but a huge argument. The $5, he said, or paisa nahi hai and all. He started to give me a conversation about why I'm not carrying more money. It's happened too many times in my life. When beggars who can't be choosers think I'm the beggar. At the end of the conversation, it's the bikari, iske paas paisa nahi hai. Literally like that. So it's so disrespectful, yaar. I feel bad. I was dissed, man.
It's a weird one, man. I mean, like, cause you feel sympathy, but you also, I'm like, dude, I'm doing charity here. I mean, like, be acceptable and graceful. I don't know. I'm
like,
this stuff gets really.
We are not doing if we think in our heads, we are not doing anything for which we want credit and applause and validation. Firstly, we're doing because, hey, we may have some spare change. You seem like you need it, so I'll give it to you. That's it. There's no more emotion involved, and I'm trying to keep it there. But otherwise, what end is it? There's no end to the thinking, and then you might as well become like the Buddha and say, "There's too much pain in the world. Remove all your clothes and lie on the road and die." There's no point. Not that he said that, but it stems from that. Yeah, God, I'm so sorry. So one peaceful religion. Yeah, Silverie.
Yep. Sid Da has a funny topic suggestion. He says, "Babies on a plane. Japan Airlines unveils tool to tackle horror of screaming infants." So what the story is that Japan, there's an airline called JAL. In Japan.
Yeah, that's
the national
Japan Airlines. All right. So Japan Airlines has basically, when you see a couple is traveling with their infant child, right? Like between 8 to 12 months or something. I think that's what it is.
We've all been through that. What is the tool? What is the tool?
Put them in the luggage compartment.
So on the seat plan, once they book the ticket, there will be a baby icon on the seat plan. So other people booking the seats can know there's a baby in this seat. It's going to be crying. I'll book away from that seat.
Who will take the seat?
The baby.
But who will say yes to the seat?
The baby and the parents.
The last people to.
So you don't have a choice to take that seat. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So you have a choice. Like, you can also plan then, there's a baby on this plane. I'll take the next plane.
Don't
you can do all that.
Of course, I had my first child and, Mikhail crying in her arms and all that. But, Bombay Delhi flights, early MTV days, sitting through those early 6 o'clock morning red-eye flights. And, you're looking. Like today, you look for terrorists. Then we used to look for babies. Please don't be a baby because 2 ghanta ka abhi neend hai. We planned it that way. That 6 to 8, you're out like a light. And then invariably they would be there. And invariably a baby is not going to not cry for 2 hours. It's just,
Yeah.
It's one of the major reasons to take rush hour flights, even though they're more expensive. Because rush hour flights typically don't have babies on them, right? If you take,
but there's a season, Amit. There's a season, summer, Diwali, that time where if you were traveling,
you don't have a choice.
Because anyway, now the problems are different. Now we're worried about who's going to blow up the plane. So, baby screaming is okay. Maybe that's the last noise you'll hear. Thanks. Sorry to be morbid. So let's take one more. My steaks are waiting for me. And by steaks, I mean vegetarian meat. Yeah.
Okay, sure.
Okay.
This next one comes in from Ashish Ranjan Jha. He says, with Indians springing up in so many other countries of the world, do you think we will eventually introduce caste system everywhere instead of ending it at home?
Yeah, what do you think, Amit? You're the guy for this because you really represent both sides. Unlike Silverie and me, ultimately I have only an idea. But I think that you guys, when you go there and you can talk about your extended family, the imprint for the Indian is sometimes can get stronger. As in, you become very American.
It does.
But the traditions are taken more seriously than, say, his family and my family back home.
So I'll tell you what my experience of this has been to some degree, right? And this might not be 100% accurate, right? In my family, and again, this comes from the fact that, Jains don't really come into the Indian caste system equation. And if they are considered, they're considered at the high end, right? So, I mean, like, not really a kind of issue there. But I think that when you look at people who moved in the 60s, 70s, and up till the 80s, castes becomes a smaller part of the equation. But what happened in the 90s and 2000s with the more people who started coming in from the more like, I feel like as the numbers started growing, caste stuff started becoming more and more part of the equation, which is a weird thing to think of because these people who are going in the 90s and 2000s are obviously are younger people than the people who went in the 60s, 70s, and 80s.
Yeah.
But I do feel like there is a certain amount of like, there's a certain amount of caste stuff that does start coming in when you're going there, and you've heard
Why
about
do you
it.
marry in the caste, bro? You're still marrying in the caste in 2021 or whatever it is.
Yeah.
That's the problem, right? So that means that hold is still there. Whatever you do, you land up marrying, and that's so sad.
Yeah.
I'll tell you,
No, I know. Again, in our family, right? I mean, like, I see people who have gone at different times, right? In that sense, and the people who went earlier, while they might have married within the Jain community or what have you, that's mostly because they went married, or they were really, really young, went for a year, came back, got married, and then this, right? But their kids are all marrying wherever. Like, there's no kind of sense of this. But I feel
fully
like
out without looking left, right, and center, marrying whoever they want to, or they told we only want a Brahmin bride and this and that.
within the family, we have Hispanic, we have Chinese, we
Oh, that's
have
great.
white.
That's superb. Screw the system's gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We also
Some nani will ask the Chinese bride, Gotra ka naam kya hai?
no, so all that still happens. Some of that still does happen, right? I mean, like in the sense
Yeah.
that the expectation. But again, I mean, and again, even other non Gujarati castes, non Gujarati folks as well,
Jat.
right?
Oh.
Yeah. So like my sister-in-law is Punjabi / Kashmiri. One of my other cousins is married to a Maharashtrian. So it's all over. Kind of this. Right?
So I'm going to hand it. I don't know about Silverie, but I'm going to hand it to my parents. They have been, not were. Although my dad, of course, his mind is not there anymore. Very clear about caste. That caste is rubbish. And then my dad even used to tell me more like a joke. If everybody asks you what caste you are, you must say whatever is the lowest caste in your mind, that is me. So literally, I had only one incident in my life where a girl's father went to pick up and fetch rather and drop and all that. Not even seeing her, but in the waiting for her to get ready, sitting in a thing. Very friendly guy, was smoking a cigarette and all that. And then he just asked, "What caste are you?" Apparently even the Parsis have two castes, by the way. So, and I quoted my father's words, which is whatever is the lowest caste to you, I'm that caste. And of course, he was not impressed. I was not a professional comedian, Silverie, so it didn't go down that well. Otherwise, wink, wink. But yeah, so I must say that's one good thing. And I just wish people would just end this, rubbish. It's just rubbish. It's just going on and on for years.
It's a hard one, right? I mean, like when I've been asked the question, my answer is I don't know. Yeah, honestly, don't know, right? Because again, the Jains are weird, right?
The better answer is I don't want to know. I don't want to get into that caste thing. It's just not important enough.
I don't know. I don't believe. This is I don't know. I don't believe, because when people ask me like how do you do religious stuff? I don't know. I don't believe. That's my simple kind of answer over there.
Seriously, the future is with you, bro. You break the mold. You've already done it by becoming a comedian, but now the next generation has to end this caste nonsense. Yeah. Caste really, because under this communal gets too much writing, and it's the more high profile sort of issue that we have. But caste is much more endemic and worse. It's there from north, south, east, west. It's a bigger problem.
It's a bigger problem because the thing is that the caste-based discrimination, right? It often flies under the radar because people who are of the lower castes generally don't have the ability to complain in a way that you can see in other things, right? So it's a bigger problem. Not that communalism is not a big problem. It's a huge problem there too.
At least let's talk about Mumbai, Delhi, and the cities we're used to. Generations of people have kept their class of society, liberals, where we are mixed in terms of community and all that. But the class of society is the same, but it doesn't include, it's not inclusive of people from lower castes. And then at the end of the day, we don't even know enough of people of lower caste. Of course, I'm against knowing who the caste is,
Yeah.
but they've not been allowed to come into this community. You've kept them out. I mean,
But,
we can
you know, so,
argue about reservation on another day, but there's no question that, there's no question that an evil has been perpetrated for many years from the beginning of this stupid system. And, and that madness and rubbish, and it's as bad as racism, that you can, literally have a person next to you or not next to you, proximity because of their caste. I mean, how medieval, how Taliban like.
Well, there was a article recently. I was like, sometimes when you come across this stuff, right? I mean, like the caste stuff, you're just like, wait, how is this? So apparently there was a temple somewhere in South India, and I can't remember exactly where. And the lower castes were not allowed to go into the temple unofficially, because officially you're not allowed to do this, right? But
Top
unofficially,
people, but
yeah.
one temple.
Correct, but so unofficially lower castes were not allowed. Apparently, a 2-year-old child, got away from his parents and ran into the temple, right? And the people who ran the temple sent a bill of 23,000 rupees for various pujas to the lower caste folks. And I'm just like, how do you even, like, where does this come from?
And almost like a Krishna-like effect, that this naughty, cheeky kid runs into the temple.
Yeah.
You know.
But I mean, like, how is this even a thought that comes into somebody's head is something that you can do?
We had it with the hockey players, right? Then we have one of the hockey girls who was the village started attacking the parents because they're lower caste because they didn't win the bronze in the end.
They won the silver or something, right? I think, or rather, they were playing the third, fourth match rather than winning.
They were playing for the bronze and they lost it, and then they were abused. Luckily, the rest of the village shunned them, and police action was taken because it's a high-profile case. But think about all the cases where nothing happens, and people just get away with this. And I don't know. I'm so anti-caste. I'm like, I just don't have any time for it. Just rubbish, absolute rubbish. Character. We must judge people on one thing and one thing alone. Character, as we say in the North. Nothing else is important. What their hairstyle is. How dumb are we that we can't? What if all these crappy things matter?
It shouldn't, but it does to people.
Most human beings suck. That should be your logic. They're selfish, egoistic, cruel, and acquisitive, as was said, written in the Leviathan many years ago. Please read the book. It's very boring, but Leviathan is like a big whale. I'm a political science major. I was forced to, and then some parts are interesting. You can fast read them and all. It's all good.
But I feel like a lot of those classic books were really boring.
They get a great name for like Machiavelli's the Prince. I've read the English short version. It's interesting, but it's not bad at all. But there are 2 or 3 points, like the end justifies the means. That's all you need to get out of it. For which you're in 200 pages. Fair enough, because your point is well made.
Sun Tzu does it right. Sun Tzu does it right for the Art of War. Well, it's like 40 pages, 50 pages, something like that, right? Yeah. I mean, that's
a fabulous.
It is.
Yeah, I've always thought I had it in me to be a military commander. If I could only find an army. Let me call up Kim Jong-un, that great humanitarian of the year. Hey guys, it's 7:12. May I be dismissed?
Yes, of course. We've been getting a lot of questions that how is Cyrus still not running away for dinner?
Sarcastic monkeys that watch this show and just want to make fun of the host all the time. How evil and mean. They're all Kunal's people, I tell you. They're all with that guy. Who's here in my house, by the way, making steaks in the kitchen. Yeah. What a life he has, pandemic or no pandemic.
Yeah. Cyrus, before you leave, could you please ask everyone to hit like and share and subscribe?
Okay, everyone. Oh, you mean here? Okay, everyone, hit like and share if you like the show and want to subscribe to the channel. That'll be great, because in the next 6 months we need to be financially comfortable, or we'll have to go to Kabul and do events there. Which are short and sweet, by the way. We take 4 comedians and only 3 come back. That's the whole game.
Why go to Kabul? You can go to Madhya Pradesh. Same thing.
Ooh, be careful. I had a gig in Indore which got cancelled. Yeah, appropriate gig. But, oof, ouch. Really. All right, guys. Off I go. Bye-bye.
All right.
Okay, catch us on any of the podcasting apps, please. We beg you, we need you. Send us your questions on Twitter on Cyrus Says In, or you can email us, even if you're not female, on whatcyrussays@gmail.com.
Hey everybody, it's been a great week on the IVM Podcast Network. On the habit coach, mythologist and author Devdutt Patnaik joins Ashton to talk about his latest book, How to Become Rich, 12 Lessons I Learned from Vedic and Puranic Stories. Check out how we can approach money and apply Vedic practices into our daily life. In the last episode of the season for Last Man Standing is the battle of the two-wheelers, Bajaj Auto versus Hero Honda with Anupam and Ambi. On Misconduct, Ragbi and Nisha tell us the chilling story of Shabnam and her lover Salim, who together killed 6 members of her family. On Yuddha, Aditya and Anirudh explore Sher Shah's journey of becoming the most powerful man in Hindustan. And on Marathi Kirkitun, Dr. Rajiv and Manik discuss author Vinda Karandikar's short essays and poetry. Do follow us on social media. We're IVM Podcast on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. And remember, if you're enjoying this show or any of our other shows for that matter, please do tell a friend. It really does help us. And finally, we'd like to thank our sponsors on the network this week, Cred, Bank of Baroda, Quota, CoinSwitch, Kuber, and Inter vPro. Thank you so much for making this possible.
Eventually, you'll see the end of your childhood,
Get accustomed to womanhood.
enjoy the experience of sisterhood,
Might get to wifehood
or not, choose motherhood,
or not. You'll learn to define your personhood.
earn a livelihood,
Change the neighborhood.
and get rid of the falsehood that life post-academia is easy.
So join me, Ritasha,
And me, Ayushi,
on a journey from station starting point.
to station, what now?
Next station, Pudin station, and hopefully, Agla station, adulthood.
Fresh episodes out every Thursday.